the design of a Shakespeare sonnet is something like this. They all have 14 lines. Actually, once I say that, there are 2 of the 154 sonnets that don't. They're not legitimate sonnets. They're 153 and 154. I don't know whether you got tired or just decided to throw them in. But and they use a thing called iambs, a short sound or an unstressed sound followed by a stressed sound, like this, ta-tum. And there are 5 of them in a line, ta-tum, 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 ta-tum. And that continues until we have 4 lines like this, which are alternate rhyme, A, B, A, B, so we have a rhyme scheme. And then it continues. We have a C, D, C, or C, D, C, D, and an E, F, E, F, alternate line rhymes. And then the last 2 lines are rhyming with each other. And when you talk about these in an egghead way, here are the terms. We have, these are called quatrains. We have the first, second, and third quatrain. And then the last 2 lines are called a couplet. Sometimes it's called a rhymed couplet. And to think of writing something that beautiful and that thoughtful with this kind of a constriction shows you how much artistry is involved. I'm going to show you something here that we can read in strict iambic pentameter. A little kid's thing. A shaggy dog came running like a clown. About the time my mom came out the door, the grass was wet. He slipped and knocked her down. The dog was fine, but mom was bruised and sore. So that's iambic pentameter, and little kids' rhymes are read that way. Even Richard Cory. Richard Cory is in iambic pentameter. Whenever Richard Cory went downtown, people on the sidewalk looked at him. He was a gentleman from soul to crown, clean-favored and imperially slim. And you can almost get away with a strict ta-tum, 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 ta-tum feeling with Richard Cory. You get to Shakespeare, you better just appreciate that this is there, but put it in the background. Imagine that time of year thou mayst to me behold, when yellow leaves are none or few to hang upon those boughs which shake against the cold, bear ruined choirs where late the sweet birds sang. How would you like to have heard it that way? So let's put this form back again here. There's the line numbers and there's the rhyme scheme. And I'll drop a sonnet into here. And let me show you a perfect example of why we cannot read it that way. Take a look down here. This is sonnet number 29, by the way. Down at lines 11 and 12. Like to the lark at break of day arising from sullen earth. Arising belongs to the next line. And when he does that, it's called enjambment. You're jamming one line into another. You just cannot read that ta-dum, 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 and stop after arising and then restart with sullen. It just can't be done. So let's listen to this one. And I want to recite it to you for meaning while you're looking at the structure. So you can realize that what happens is the meaning floats over the structure, almost like the tectonic plates of the earth float. I'm going to define a few things so that you're not lost. Fortune just means good luck. Men's eyes means what other people think of us. In disgrace is the kind of exaggeration you see all the time. All it means is I'm not getting along very well with luck and with other people. In disgrace is a little bit strong for that. This one I had a little trouble with. What are bootless cries? Well, 400 years ago, if you didn't have a good pair of boots, you couldn't ride, you couldn't work, you couldn't walk through the muddy streets, you were pretty much useless. So he uses bootless as a synonym for useless. Heaven's not listening to me. Now, he would like to be like some other people. Featured like him, in other words, good looking like this guy, have friends like this guy over here. Art and scope have to do with skill and insight. Happily. You would think that means H-A-P-P-I-L-Y, happily, with a grin on your face, and it doesn't. It means it just happened that way, by happenstance. And then the word state has 2 separate meanings. And then my state, which means my state of mind. But this one doesn't mean that. This one means my circumstance. I wouldn't change my circumstance with kings. Okay, with that as a background, now let's listen to this. When in disgrace with fortune and men's eyes I all alone beweep my outcast state, and troubled deaf heaven with my bootless cries, and look upon myself and curse my fate. wishing me like to one more rich in hope, featured like him with friends possessed, desiring this man's art and that man's scope, with what I most enjoy contented least, yet in these thoughts, myself almost despising, haply I think on thee. And then my state, like to the lark at break of day, arising from sullen earth, sings hymns at heaven's gate. For thy sweet love remembered such wealth brings, that then I scorn to change my state with kings.